Okay, continuing on with the animations on the NPCs. Let me go to the headgear. Let's get that moved. There's the headgear. Again, setting the NPC. There's the body. And then the footgear, there are only two options here. The brown boots and the black boots. So that was quite a bit simpler. Let's see here. Again, I think one of the headgear. I had to create these additional from here down to here. The Stetson while it's just sitting there, and the Stetson while the squirrel scratching its head, and then the same with the glasses and the red cap, and then a blank one to start. Each of the characters at least had one blank slot, so at some point there was a blank slot, except for the foot section. So looking at the script for it, it's right there. Very, very simple. The main work was creating the animations for it, and then just setting based on what type of character it was. So I'd have 4 different characters. I'm using the vendor twice and the barker twice, but there's just 4 characters, and just set it based on what character it is, and do that in the start, so it doesn't have to be repeated over and over and over in the update. That I'm still doing for the player character. I have over 40 different objects there. Kind of the point of trying to do it this way was not having to create each of the individual items. If it really becomes necessary, I guess I will have to go through that work and do it that way. But for the NPCs, it was pretty straightforward on how to do that. All right. Next major issue that I had regarding the animations. Most of the animations, it was pretty easy to just go in, and it was just some chaotic problems, and I just went in and had to clean up the state tree, and just going in and making sure that they all conform, making sure that their settings, for example, what's one of the more complicated ones here? Let's see if we can get our player character. There we go. Yeah, here we go. So, for example, they're going to the climbing state. There's just 2 different situations here. Climbing up and climbing down. So you just need to apply the animation. So, and just making sure that they all conform. That was one major section. The second major problem that I was having was with the climbing. That I'm going to need to go into the adventure section here. So we'll switch our scenes. Okay, and I demonstrated that in my game demo. See if we can get one of the trees to show up here. Gotta get our scene. There we go. So, and this is the one I practiced. I tried several different ways of cleaning it up. What I finally got settled on, and is actually working pretty well, is the climbing surface. The main feature here is this tiny, tiny little collider in there. What's going on here, the squirrel can run left and right across this first surface here. That's kind of like what I have for the maze and the rooftops. It's the same sort of surface, and it's giving the same sort of behavior. Same thing down here. My previous method still have this ascender. The ascender, when the squirrel jumps onto the trunk, it will still go to the center. The problem was transitioning from this to this collider to this collider, there would be several flips back and forth. And that's primarily because of how the squirrel character was built. And again, at this point of the project, seems like it would be an awful lot of work to go in and make that correction. Let's see if we can get a copy of the squirrel here. Maybe if we go ahead and show the sprites here. Yeah, I think the squirrel sprites are right here. There we go. Okay, number 7. All right, so here's our sprite, and go ahead and edit them, and that'll kind of indicate what my issue was. I have the squirrel sitting here. The center of the animation, the center of the object is right there above the squirrel's head, and I applied a collider down in this area where the body is. Okay. Now, when he starts climbing, notice that the center of the object is right there on his behind, but the collider is still down here in this area here. And that's the main issue that I was having when I was turning the squirrel around to have him face downward. That collider would leave the collider here. So, because he would go into the collider, he would be facing downward, turn around, be facing upward, and it would just flip back and forth about 4 different states every time he tried to go down one of the tree trunks. So what I had to do is to apply this tiny little collider right in the middle there. Let me pick that up. It's that tiny little one. And instead of having the climbing animation start and stop based on the big collider, the big one along the trunk, I took out the functionality between the two. The climbing animation would start when he enters the big one, but it would only have stop showing climbing when he leaves the tiny little one and in the right direction. The top one, it only leaves when he's going upward, have a positive X or Y direction, and the bottom one when he's going and leaving downward. So, and that seemed to work out pretty smoothly. Here's the code. Here's the code that puts him in the center. Turn on all the settings for climbing. This is the climbable trunk. There's still a lot of things I need to go in and clean up, which I will do. And then the exit to the top. If the Y speed is positive, turn off the climbing animation. And at the bottom, if the climb speed is negative, then he's going downward, turn off the animation. So that's what that was a big, took some time to figure out. That was a big issue, kind of frustrating, figuring all that out. But I finally got it. Thanks.